Welcome to the show. Today's our grand finale for season 1, and so it's my way of saying thank you to you loyal viewers. I'm going to help you guys out with a few of your kitchen dramas. I'm going to start off by helping out Mario with his Hollandaise sauce. Then I'm going to make tempura batter for Callie. Finally, I'm going to help out Telena with her beef stroganoff. So I hope you guys are watching, and the rest of yous, come join me in the kitchen. To start things off today, we've got a request from Mario in Preston. He cooks breakfast for his wife every Saturday, but her favourite's eggs Florentine, but he can't cook it because he doesn't know how to make the Hollandaise. So, Hollandaise isn't just used for breakfast though. It's made famous by Eggs Benedict, of course, but it's used as a sauce for steaks and fish and chips as well. To make it, we're going to need 200 grams of butter, some fresh herbs. You can use tarragon or basil or any of those. I'm using sage today. 3 egg yolks, salt and pepper, 1 shallot and 1 bay leaf, and 100 mils of water and 100 mils of white wine vinegar. To get started, we need to melt our butter. Dice up your butter so it melts a bit quicker, because we can only melt this on a low heat. What you want to happen is for it to split, because all you want is, or what you would call ghee, which is the clarified butter, from the top of it. So you need to do it nice and low so it separates evenly. So just leave your butter to gently melt. You don't want to stir it because you want all the white bits to all drop to the bottom, and just leave you with a nice clear butter on top. While that's happening though, we can get onto our reduction. The reduction's what gives it all its flavour, and this is what we're going to mix with our egg yolks later to form the base. So just start off by slicing your shallot. If you want to take a shortcut, you can always use lemon juice instead of making a reduction, or you can just use white wine vinegar as well. But this extra step is definitely worth the effort. So just slice it up nice and fine, because when your vinegar is reducing in it, it's not going to have too long to take on all the flavour. So just want it to be nice and fine. So now that that's all sliced up, straight into your pan. So once your butter's melted, then just pop it over out of the way and just allow that just to separate a bit more. So onto the front. A nice sort of low to medium heat with this. You don't want to use too big a pot for your reduction, because you won't have a chance for it to reduce down in time. If it's too large, then your liquid's going to cover the bottom and just burn before it takes on any of the flavour. Making sure you keep stirring it, because you don't want to get any colour on those shallots. And now we'll just take some of our herb, not too much. Get the nice young shoots if you can. Give them just a quick chop, and in they go as well. So once your shallots have started to go clear and started to soften up, it's time to add your vinegar and your water. I've got mine in together here, just to save on dishes. So now we're just going to let this leave this now to cook down a bit. You want to reduce it by about half. You don't want to take it too far, or your vinegar is going to be like way too harsh. But just on a nice low to medium heat, let that take all that flavour up. While that's happening though, we can get our egg yolks ready. The egg yolks aren't just in this dish to make it nice and light and creamy and fluffy. Normally vinegar and butter won't come together, but these eggs are what make them form together into the sauce. To cook your Hollandaise sauce, you need a really gentle heat. That's why I've got water boiling in a pot here, and we're going to cook it in the steam that's caused by that. You can see now that our reduction is reduced by half. It's quite cloudy, and it's got plenty of flavour to it as well. So we'll take that out and strain it. So in that goes with your eggs. And now I'm also going to add just a splash of water as well. So give that a whisk just to combine. And a bit of salt. and a bit of pepper as well. So this next part is where a lot of people go wrong. You got to make sure you're using a heat-proof bowl to start with, and you don't want to get too much air in at the start. Just nice and gently stir it, making sure it doesn't catch on the bottom. You don't want to rush this part because you just really want to do it slowly so the egg yolks have a chance to cook. If you try to do this just in a pan and without the steam, then the eggs are going to cook, and once the eggs are cooked, they won't take in the butter. This first step should take around 3 to 4 minutes. And you want to make sure that you don't start whipping it too early because all that air is just going to fall out when it starts to cook. So once you can see this starting to thicken up, take it off the heat and give it a good whisk. Whisking it now just gives it a nice fluffy texture at the end. But when you start adding your butter, you're going to get more air in it as well, but this just gives it a head start. So when you're whisking this, you'll notice it's starting to change colour. It's becoming paler, and you'll notice that it's quite a bit more fluffy as well. This also helps to cool it down a bit because we just want to have it warm when we emulsify our butter in. So once you've whisked that for about 1 or 2 minutes and it's nice and fluffy and light, then it's time to grab your butter, which is nicely split now. Now, when it comes to your butter, if it's got a bit of white on top, then you want to skim that off. But you don't want to disturb it too much because we just want the nice bit off the top. So just making sure you're just getting the white. You don't want to lose too much of your clarified butter. And now it's time to add your butter to your eggs. So give it another whisk. And this next bit can help if you've got 2 people, someone to pour the butter for you. But I'm going it alone today. So just nice and slowly add your butter and whisking it in. You don't want to add too much at a time because it needs a chance to be stirred in properly, otherwise your sauce might split and it'll go really thin. Whereas this is going to help it thicken up nicely. You can see this now starting to thicken up quite a bit. I don't like my hollandaise too thick. I like to have it nice, just a nice coating consistency. But the thicker you like it, the more butter you add to it. So giving it a nice good whip at the end, just to get as much air in as possible. So that's finished now. As you let it sit there, it'll thicken up a little bit as well. So always make it a little bit runnier than what you want it. But just so Mario doesn't have any dramas at all, we'll get the rest of the Florentine working now for him. So now that our hollandaise is ready to go, we're going to get onto our Florentine. For this, we're going to need some nice fresh bread. I've got a ciabatta here, 2 eggs, 50 grams of spinach, some salt and pepper, and just a couple of knobs of butter as well. Our eggs are going to take the longest though, so we'll get started with those. If you want more detail on how to poach an egg, then be sure to check out the bistro episode because we've made it for our Caesar salad. But plenty of vinegar in there and just a nice gentle whirlpool at the start, and then just let them do their thing. So while our eggs are cooking away, we'll get our spinach going. Just get your butter in first. Nice sort of medium to high heat. You don't want your butter to burn, but you want it to wilt down nice and quickly. Making sure you give it a stir. With spinach as well, it's really important to get plenty of salt in there, bring out all the natural flavour. Just leave that to cook down now nicely. So onto your bread. I couldn't fit a toaster on my bench, and it's a beautiful fresh bread, so it'd be a shame to toast it. So just a nice slice. So I'll grab a plate out. Bread's on. Spinach is nearly there, it doesn't take long. But while that's happening, I'll grab my hollandaise from before. Just give it another whip. Should have thickened up a little bit by now as well. So our spinach is ready. So spinach on the bread. And the bread's going to soak up all the nice butter that's been cooking with it, which has been infused with the flavour. And your eggs should be ready now as well. Breakfast is saying I don't actually really like cooking in the kitchen, but it's my favourite meal of the day to go out for, so I can definitely appreciate a good breakfast. Make sure you're nice and generous. And there we have a beautiful eggs Florentine. Hope I've answered all your questions, Mario. But coming up next, I've got a viewer request from Callie saying that her tempura batter can never be crispy. So I've got a few little tips and tricks I'm going to show you, so stick around.